this is Angela from Natural Living Alchemy. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about herbal menstruums, what they are, the different types that you can use, and how you can ensure that you are choosing the proper one for your herbal medicines and preparations. I just want to remind you that I'm not a doctor. None of what is on this channel would be considered medical advice. It is here for education and entertainment purposes only, and it's up to you to talk to your healthcare professionals before following anything that I say. All right, let's get to it. So what is a menstruum? Well, a menstruum is a solvent that is used to extract medicinal compounds from a plant. And just know that the word menstruum and the word solvent can be used interchangeably. It acts as a medium that absorbs and carries the compounds from plant materials and then places them into your chosen medium. This is why fixed oils are often referred to as carrier oils, but we'll get to those shortly. Regardless of whatever herbal medicines that you're wanting to make, you're going to need to consider the method that you want to use, as well as what it actually is that you are wanting to extract from the plants, because not all menstruums are able to extract the exact same phytochemicals or plant chemicals. The word menstruum originates from the Latin word menstruus, which means monthly, as historically this is referring to the period of time that the extraction process occurs in. Before we get to sharing the types of menstruums that we have available to us, and just know that the list that I'm going to go over is not every single thing that you could use, but these are just some very basic ones that are great to start with. So there are three things that you would want to consider when choosing an appropriate menstruum or mix of menstruums. Our first is solubility. So what compounds are you wanting to extract? The second is purpose. How are you intending on using the final preparation? Is it going to be used internally or externally? And lastly, preference. What are your personal preferences? Do you have any dietary or lifestyle restrictions that might prevent you from using certain menstruums? Each menstruum will have its own set of strengths as well as weaknesses, what it can or what it can't extract. And always remember that you can mix different menstruums together to ensure that you are extracting all of those phytochemical components that you're looking for. So what we mean about wanting to potentially mix different menstruums together, say you're wanting to use dried plant material in a glycerin menstruum. Well, you would actually need to add water to ensure that you're getting all of those phytochemicals, because glycerin on its own cannot get them all. So some common methods of extraction would be heat. These would be our decoctions and our teas. Maceration, this would also be what would be known as a tincture. Agitation, percolation, or a combination of any of the above methods. Now let's go over our menstruum options. And again, this is not an exhaustive list. These are just really good ones to begin with. We are going to start with water. Just regular old spring water. So what water can extract really well would be mucilage. And this is the primary thing that it is really, really good at extracting. We can also extract minerals with water. Just think to a second, and maybe the shower head has those little white bits. Well, those are just minerals from the water that the water has actually managed to extract. Water is also great at extracting aromatic as well as simple bitters, acrid compounds, starches and carbohydrates, sugars or polysaccharides, gums, and tannins. But just know, if you are wanting to extract tannins, you would want to add a little bit of glycerin. So water isn't so great though at extracting essential or volatile oils or resins. Now the types of preparations that you could have using water would be infusions. This would be teas, hot infusions, or cold infusions, decoctions, concentrates, jellos, hydrosols, and flower essences. Our next herbal menstruum would be alcohol. Now I don't have one to show you because I ran out. I didn't realize that I didn't have any before we started recording this video, but that's okay. What you would want to find is the highest proof of alcohol that you can get. So I like to actually use Everclear or grain alcohol because that's what I can get here. But again, just use whatever highest percentage that you can find, because the higher percentage is going to be able to extract all of those phytochemicals that you're looking for. However, you may need to add some water because using 95% alcohol might be too strong for certain things. But if you were wanting to extract something like a resin, you would want to just use that highest percentage that you can find. Other phytochemicals that you can extract using alcohol would be balsams, camphors, essential oils, glycosides, acids, acrids and bitters, and alcohol is really good at extracting a group of phytochemicals called alkaloids. Alkaloids are chemicals that end in INE. Now, you may be already familiar with certain alkaloids. Caffeine, nicotine, morphine, and berberine are all examples of alkaloids. Alcohol is not so great though at extracting minerals, gums, or mucilage. So there is a downside of using alcohol. Some people just want to avoid it in any form. Or maybe you're wanting to give the medicine to a child. If that is the case, any of these other menstruum options would be perfect. There is an upside to using alcohol. You can preserve your herbal preparations if you have at least 25% alcohol present. But just keep in mind water, even water from fresh plants, can water down alcohol percentages. So that's why it is better to choose a higher percentage and then just water that down yourself, keeping in mind if you are using fresh or dried herbs, their water content that they already have. Types of preparations using alcohol that you could make would be tinctures. This would be a maceration, extracting soluble constituents by soaking them in a solvent. You could follow a Folk method or a weight to volume method. You could use percolation to make tinctures. This is also known as displacement. This is extracting soluble constituents through a continuous flow of solvent through a bed of dried, crushed plant materials. You could also make fluid extracts as well as wine-based infusions. Now, our next menstruum that you could potentially choose would be vinegar. And you have a couple different options here. I'm just going to talk about two. So you could use regular acetic acid, otherwise known as white vinegar. This generally comes in a 4 to 10% solution. All you need to do is just look at the front. Mine is 5% acetic acid by volume. The other one that you could use is dilute acetic acid, otherwise known as apple cider vinegar. And this generally comes in a 5% solution. Now, personal preference, do tend to go towards the apple cider vinegar more than just the white vinegar, but you can use either. I personally enjoy some of the health benefits of the apple cider vinegar, especially when you get it in its raw form when it has the mother with it. But again, you just use whichever ones that you have. So vinegars are really good at extracting alkaloids and minerals. They can extract some essential oils as well as some bitters. Vinegar is not so good at extracting carbohydrates or mucilage, and the types of preparations that you make using vinegar are just referred to as vinegar infusions. Our next example of a solvent would be glycerin. Now, keep in mind that you do want to make sure that your glycerin is either a USP, US Pharmacopoeia, or BP, British Pharmacopoeia grade. Okay, that is going to ensure that it is safe to put on the skin as well as ingesting. But glycerin is good at extracting essential oils, alkamides, tannins, acids, polysaccharides, saponins, glycosides, and pigments. But just know that glycerin is not so great at extracting aromatic bitters, resins, minerals, or mucilage. Benefits, though, of using glycerin. If you have at least 60% glycerin in your herbal preparation, that will act as a preservative. So I like to follow a ratio of 3 to 1, 75% glycerin to 25% water or vinegar. So let's use an example here. If we were making a preparation of dried nettles, because it is mineral rich, you would want to consider using a 75% glycerin and 25% apple cider vinegar to really get all of those minerals out, or you could use water. Types of preparations using glycerin are referred to as glycerites. The next group of menstruums that I want to talk about would be our fixed oils, and here are just a couple examples. So you could use coconut, olive oil, sunflower oil. You could use what you would consider harder butters like cocoa butter or even shea butter. So oils are really good at transporting fat-soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, or K. They can deliver medicine internally as well as externally. They can extract essential oils, aromatic and pungent herbs, some resins, flavonoids, as well as just the oils that are found within the plants themselves. Types of herbal preparations using oil would be oil infusions and topical preparations such as balms or salves. Now, I just want to take a little break here. There has been some comments on some of my videos regarding me not pronouncing words correctly. Those comments are just going to be deleted. I am well aware of, it's not a problem, it's just something that I live with, okay? If it bugs you that much, I'm probably not the channel for you. And this actually has nothing to do with personal growth, okay? It's just a learning disability that I have, okay? And on this channel, we are going to be gentle with people who have learning disabilities, and we're going to allow people to just say words wrong, and it doesn't mean that they don't know what they're talking about. Okay, enough about that. Let's talk about our final option I have, and that is honey. Honey is really good at extracting water-soluble ingredients. We're talking antioxidants, tannins, enzymes, vitamins, as well as minerals. And it can also extract some oil-soluble ingredients, and this is due to the presence of the trace amounts of beeswax and pollen lipids, but those are only found in raw honey. The benefits of using honey is it does work as a preservative that has an indefinite shelf life under certain conditions. And honey may also enhance the bioavailability of certain plant compounds. And the type of preparations you can make using honey would be syrups, oxymels, and electuaries. Now I'm going to invite you to check the description box below this video. You're going to find a link to the full written blog article so that you can find all of this information and more in written form. As you can see, there are different solvents that you can use and endless possibilities towards different mixtures that ensure that you're extracting all of those phytochemicals that you want in your herbal preparations. So comment down below and let me know, what are your favorite herbal preparations to make? I would just love to hear about what you enjoy making at home for yourself or your family. So don't forget to hit the like button if you like this video, or share it with anyone else who you think might enjoy it. Consider subscribing to the channel so that we can spend more time together and that you don't miss future videos. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, so be sure to connect with me over there as well. But I just want to say thanks for stopping by today, and I'll see you next time.